on there, YouTube list? Kevin here at the Vapor Route. Today is going to be about cloud chasing. We're going to get into the very basic fundamentals of coils, mods, and battery safety about getting into cloud chasing. So pretty much we're going to do a little up close part right now. We're going to look at batteries, we're going to look at mods, and then we're going to get going on everything. Pretty much the first thing we're going to talk about is battery safety. When it comes down to cloud chasing, you have to worry about three big things: your batteries, your mods, and your coils. Number one thing, batteries. First things first, these red E-Fast, okay? These batteries are not designed for super sub-ohms. The resistance of the batteries cannot handle the ohm load and the voltage that we're trying to pull out. So, never try to use these. Best 4 batteries out right now that I've personally tried and like the best are these ones right here. Your 38 amp Emirates, they work really good. They're a very good high drain battery. Works very good. Next one, purple E-Fast. 35 amps, 2500 moles. They're alright. It actually seems like the resistance of the battery itself is actually kind of high. So there's much better batteries out here, but when you're going at low ohms, if these are the only batteries you have, they will work. Next one. These are the newest ones that I've really tried, and I've really liked these. These are the Samsung 25Rs. They are a 2500 mAh battery. They only say that they're 35 amp, but a lot of studies has turned around and said that these have a pulse rating of 100 amps for 10 seconds. Now, have I personally done any tests about this? No, but this is what I've been finding on the internet. And last but not least, the Sony VTC5s. These have been tried and true in the vaping industry for quite a while now. 90% of anyone that does sub-ohming uses these type of batteries. So, remember, when you're going to these low ohms, make sure your battery's right. Next thing we're going to talk about is your mods. I'm going to go ahead and take this on off here, guys. Not really worried about that. Get this out of here. Alright. Up here we have an authentic Panzer. Very nice mod, very good, hits okay. Biggest problem this has going against it, it's stainless steel. Stainless steel ain't a very good conductivity when it comes down to the super sub ohms. You're going to get a lot of hot buns, everything else, because the material ain't the best. So, next one we're going to talk about is actually right here. Manhattan Clone. This is the stainless steel black one, but the biggest thing that this has going for it is the switch. The switch design actually allows to pull quite a lot of amperage without getting too much of a hot button, just mainly because of magnets. Very good, a lot of people like it, but there's also a lot of controversy when it comes down to this particular mod. So, if you like them, use them. They're perfectly fine. I've used it for a long time. Have had no problems with it. Last but not least, copper mods. Copper mods are the premier ones when it comes down to cloud chasing. Copper has very good conductivity. It pulls a lot of heat when it comes down to your batteries and everything else out there. So it hits extremely well. Me personally, I prefer the coppers over anything else right now. It's the only thing I've been using. As you see, Copper Akuma right now, I'm using the CCI Edition Militia RDA, the 8-hole. So, after we get through all this, now it's down to your RDAs and airflow. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull this one back here. Good old Zenith V2. Alright. With this particular, there we go. This particular mod, it has 2 single octo slots. They're 2.5 millimeters, standard 510 drip tip. This RDA is more or less designed to use for flavor, not clouds. Okay? When you get a super low ohm build in here, it's going to get very hot, and the vape is actually going to be kind of uncomfortable if you're not liking those very hot vapes. Biggest reason is the type of the airflow. When you only have these standard single smallish type octo slots, it's not giving enough airflow to cool your vapor down. So, that's why when you go to cloud chasing, you want to have an RDA that has a lot of air. The more air you get, the lower the ohms you can get, and the cooler the vape's going to be. CCI has done an amazing job on this. As you see right here, it has an 8-hole on both sides and a spiral pattern. So what it does, it allows to keep the vape very cool. You can build lower ohms, which means you get more vapor production. So, alright, this one's all messy. Let me turn around and we'll get back to you. I'll clean this up and we'll start talking about builds. Alright, so pretty much the tried and true when a lot of people, when they first start getting into really doing cloud chasing, most people use 20 gauge wire. Alright, 20 gauge will allow you to get low ohms. It covers a lot of surface area and it works really good. A lot of people have used it. I used it for a long time. So, we're going to talk about it. Alright, so here we go. It's hard to get this fresh packages. There we go. We got a fresh package. Alright. A lot of times, the biggest question is, people always have trouble wrapping 20 gauge just because of the thickness. So I'm going to show you guys basically how to start a 20 gauge dual coil build, and we're going to move on from there. So we'll turn this extra off. Alright. Normally, 2 wraps around, more than enough wire, gives you plenty enough to work with. On a tri-coil, tri-post build, I always do a continuous strain just for the simple fact of there's nowhere near as much dicking around with the coils, making sure your leads ain't overlapping in your positive posts and stuff like that. So 20 gauge, right around a 2mm screwdriver. So what I normally do with 20 gauge, I'll turn around and I'll pinch it right here with my thumb, and then I'll start my wrap process. Alright, so as soon as your leads cross right there, that's the start of your first wrap. So we got 1, we got 2, got 3, and now you got 4. Alright, basic, then you're going to turn right around here. You're going to straighten out your lead. I normally will turn around and grab a pair of pliers right here, give a little pull on them. I'll pull out all the slack out of your coil. You got a nice tight coil. Alright, I typically will build my coils to the left. It's just how I've always built them. So what you want to do is insert your long lead into the positive post. If I can get the damn thing in there. There we go. Had to slide in. Alright. So place your coil in here. A lot of times, because this wire is so thick and it doesn't like to move, you normally have to turn around and grab like a pair of pliers and help persuade the coil to get in there. So let's turn on and do a little bit more persuasion. Let's try that. There we go, looks good. Alright, find a screwdriver, tighten down your leads. Alright, now here, this is the point of time where people always have questions. Alright, first coil is good. Close nip shears. You usually pick these up at your local hardware store, Walmart. Pick these up at Walmart. They're like $5, and the hobby section works extremely good. Get cuts nice and close to the post. Alright, turn your RDA and everything around. Place your screwdriver right here. The biggest trick right here that I learned with 20 gauges, slide it in between your posts, because if you slide it right in here, it helps keep your wire nice in place. And as you can see, you can pull it nice and tight, very close. So we're only going to do a couple of them because this ain't the real build that I want to show you guys today. So pull it nice and tight. Pull this around. Slip it back through and just repeat. So, oh, damn it, there we go. Give it a nice good tug right here. As you see, it pulls your wire nice and close, and all you do is you push it, you can clean it up, and you just keep repeating until you get as many wraps as you want to. I can tell you this, if you turn around and do 4 wraps on each side, tighten everything up, you're going to be reading at 0.09 ohms. Now that is extremely low, but you can still do it safely if you do everything correctly with the right batteries and the right mods. So we're going to quickly tear this one out and get started on the real one. The build that I've been using most of all here lately is a 22 gauge parallel coil. Oh, there goes something. Oh well. Let's finish getting this all apart. Get this all out. Now a lot of people have trouble with parallel coils. I did too for the longest time until I found a little trick about it. And I'll show you guys here in just a second how we do this. Now with parallel coils, you're going to have quite a bit more wire. Another thing, if you do turn around and do 2 full wraps for a single coil, you want to do 4 wraps. You want to always make sure you have quite a bit extra wire because it just makes it that much easier. Get that out of the way. All right. Have a little chunky end. Let's go ahead and cut that, get rid of that. There you go. What I do, some people do 2 individual strands. I typically don't like doing that because it just makes it so hard versus wrapping. Just even out your ends. Take this part right here, take a nice good pair of pliers. Flatten that out. It makes it very, very easy. Now the next thing you gotta do is just straighten out each one of those leads. Figure out which way it's curving and just lightly run your finger over it and you get a nice decent idea. Alright, so we're gonna turn around, re-grab our 2mm precision screwdriver right here. Start wraps, exact same thing. I don't know why I've always stuck with a 4 wraps. I don't know, it's just something that I found out that I like. We'll just do it. So we got 1, 2, take a bit. We got 3, and we got 4. Alright, so our leads are doing all kinds of craziness, but that's no problem, we can get that fixed. So, just like before, like I say, grab your lead. Alright, so pretty much like I said, straighten out your leads. This is usually one of the hardest parts right here, is trying to insert your leads. Normally, I'll turn on and have a little bit of a difference between the 2 leads. It just makes it very easy when you're inserting them. So, place your leads in. Alright, so pretty much what I always do is, you're going to turn around and cut your leads 2 opposite lengths. It makes it very, very easy to turn on and insert them. And then when you get pretty close to the other lead, always turn around and insert your coil with your tool that you're wrapping with. Every time it'll keep it from getting cockeyed and stuff like this. It just keeps your coil a lot neater and it's a lot less stressful when you're trying to work with it. So, oh, well, hang on. We're going to open that up a little bit more. There we go. So, insert your lead. Sometimes you have to give these a little bit of persuasion just for the simple fact of you got such a heavy gauge wire in here. So, just like normal, you want to get as close as possible to the post without actually touching the post. So, tighten down your negative lead. Make sure your positive one. The biggest thing is you want to make sure, if we can see this up close, you do not want to make sure your leads are twisted in there, because if so, it will not heat up correctly. So, before you really start cranking down and tightening up your leads, make sure you do that. Alright, so, give this a little twist, a little pull. Alright, looks pretty decent. Alright, so starting on our next one. I always go ahead and clip my negative lead right here, just for the simple fact I get it out the way. So, out the way, now we're going to start our wraps. Alright, so, just like with the 20 gauge, what I do is, I'll turn on a wrap, I will insert them in between the post, for the simple fact of, it makes it real easy, while holding the screwdriver, and wrapping your coils. So make sure leads are correct, going in the right spots. Like always, you do not want them to overlap in any way. If they overlap, you're going to turn around and run into problems. So pull your outside one tight. Bend it back out the way. Grab your inside lead and pull it nice and tight. This is usually the time you have a nice big gap in between them. Set here, straighten them back out, and then finish pulling your leads tight. So, grab this one, pull tight, grab this one, and pull it tight. So clean them up just a little bit more, straighten them out, pull again. Well, again, the first wrap is the most important one. This is going to depict how the rest of your coil looks. So, You want to take a lot of time making sure this is nice and neat. So, just like before, wrap, and then insert in between the lead. Like I said, it just makes it extremely easy when doing it because it helps pin it in place and everything else. So grab, tighten down one lead, and let's tighten up for a second lead. So we've got 2 reps. Now, if you turn around and see, really ain't got too much more room in between the posts. So usually on the 3rd wrap, sometimes you can get it, sometimes you can't get it. Just depends on how much of a gap you got in between your posts. So usually the 3rd lead, you normally have to do it the old-fashioned way. Wrap it to the outside, set here. Don't let your mod swing around everywhere, and then start pulling it in tight. So we're going to turn around and look, make sure we got the right leads in the right spots. And we don't. There we go. Now we do. So grab one lead, grab next, and just repeat yet again. And our lead's twisted on us. So now all we have to do is back the lead out just a little bit and get it up and over. Okay, next one. Alright. Now your last one. A lot of people do a complete wrap. I don't, just for a simple fact it's not needed. Alright. Cut off your leads, leave you about 2, maybe 3 inches. Works pretty good. Lift your coil up just a little bit while you're in the process of wrapping this and expose your post hole. Like always, keep in mind, make sure your leads are nice and straight. Cut one a little short. And then insert. So, insert your first lead. I'm going to use a screwdriver and put a little bit of a bend on here. Just give it a little bit more room. Some people use tweezers or pliers to work with wire. I typically use pliers just because a little bit stronger and you can get a little bit more control. Then as soon as you expose your leads, go ahead and pull tight. Lead pull. And pull. And you see, our dual coil is complete. Now, all we got to do is tighten up our negative post, straighten out our coils. That one looks good. Come back over here, straighten that one out, and I'll say, guys, we're complete. So we're going to go ahead and clip our leads. Watch out because they do shoot everywhere. Let's go ahead and get a battery in here and let's start working out some hot spots that we got. So like I said, I prefer the Samsung 25Rs. It's my battery of a choice. And well, we need to do some adjustments on here. Back that on in. Good enough. That's pretty good. Alright, so let's check and see if we got any hot spots right now. Now we got all kinds of hot spots. Alright. Some people use ceramic tip tweezers. When you're at this really low gauge here, it's actually kind of hard to really work out your hot spots. I'll typically use a pair of pliers just for a simple fact of got a lot more squeezing force. So, like always, a couple squeeze, check it again. Still got a hot spot. That one a little bit. We'll give this one a little squeeze. Check it again. Perfect. So what we're going to do is let this cool down and get ready to wick it. Alright guys, we're back. Now pretty much the last little thing we got to do is wicking. There's 1,000 different wicking techniques out, so I'm just going to pretty much show you guys what I do with it. I typically unroll my cottons. Pretty much just find a soft spot, stick your finger in there. Sounds wrong, and you can just quickly unravel it. Makes it a lot easier. You can keep your cotton a lot more uniform. Cut off the ends. Cut off this end. Then you're good to go. Cotton's cheap, so don't worry about it. I'll just split it in half for now and then slowly start thinning it out a little bit to what I like. So let's get that all out of there. So this is about roughly about how much I like. I'll turn around and typically lightly roll it in between the hands to scale the fibers to stick together. Quickly twist up one end. Insert it. And then pull a good amount through. And we're going to do the exact same thing yet again. We'll go ahead and pull this off here. So, lightly roll it. And twist up and in. Exact same thing. Insert. Pull a bunch through. Alright. So, I'll turn around about an inch. Cut. About an inch. Cut. Then right here, I cut very, very short. All you need is about that much there. And about that much there. Alright. Now where's my screwdriver? There's my screwdriver. So pretty much come here, make a little bow tie here at this end. Then take this in, take it straight up, and then start sticking it in between your positive and your negative posts. Mainly for the simple fact here, you need to keep a lot of cotton around that positive insulator because there's so much heat coming off, and when you do this, it helps keep you from melting that positive insulator. So exact same thing. Turn around, make a little bow tie in, take this in, up, and start pushing it down in between your positive and your negative posts. And also what that allows you to do is, oh, that was a little loose. Good thing to check that right real quick. And also, like I said, you always want to turn around and check your connections before you're done. Biggest thing is when it comes down to cloud chasing, the more air that touches your coil, the more vapor production. So this leaves the bottom completely open, the sides, everything else. Now, next thing we need to do, juice up. I primarily use our TKO from the Vapor Out for the simple fact of it is a true 90-10, so it's a very, very high VG based juice. Very good, very sweet, everything else not harsh at the super sub ohm, so extremely, extremely nice. Do a little bit of tucking and neaten this up, and then here soon we're going to be good to back on that aisles to FaceTime, talk on it, vape on it, and we should be done. We're back. So pretty much what we went through was battery safety, type of mods, and then basic wicking. Like I said, there's a million different ways out there to wick. It's pretty much personal preference. You've seen the way that I typically wick just for the simple fact of it gives you so much more airflow to your coils. So right now we got a 22 gauge parallel 4 wrap. Alright, this is ohming out to 0.06 ohms. So right now we're just going to see what a little bit of production that it does. And if I gotta say, Not too shabby, guys. Great flavor, very intense heat, and like I said, airflow, airflow, airflow is key. Well, pretty much this is going to be the end of the segment number 1. Hopefully we're going to have a couple more segments getting a little bit more in depth and everything, coming in with more unique builds, more in depth when it comes down to your mods, everything else. So, alright guys, you have yourself a good time. Remember, vape on.